On this episode of The Third Wheel at Night, we'll be covering the first 5 things on the list of 10 things women do that basically repel men. Stay tuned to find out where these may fall on your list.
Welcome back to another episode of the Third Wheel Podcast.
At night. Wait, why did I say it like that?
I like that. I was like, nice, putting a spin on it. I'm keeping that one.
I didn't mean to do it like that. I meant to, yeah.
At night.
At night.
What do you think, audience? Should she do it like that every time?
Oh
Yay or
my
nay?
gosh. I just meant to do the at night. I can't even do, wait, how do I normally do it? At night.
Yeah, that's it.
At night. Anyways.
And as quickly as this episode started, thus it ends. Safe travels, everybody.
I'm just screaming to my mic like we were before.
Don't do it.
No, I was just fixing it because it's normally not this low. It's normally like right about here.
Well, audience, today I decided to set aside my controlling tendencies. Okay. If you can't tell, Darcy's squeezing a rubber ducky. All right. Now, I apologize for the whole minute we just wasted on you. But today I relinquish all control of my podcast and turn it over for one episode only. Don't get a big head, Darcy. To Darcy to steer the ship, as you will, and let this conversation go forward. Last time...
I'm normally the one running this. I don't know what you mean.
Normally... Last episode, we went ahead and talked about what guys do to repel women. Okay.
Was that that wasn't the last one, was it?
Mm-hmm. Part 2. Yeah. It's been a minute since we've done this, but not anymore.
Well, it threw me off because part of part 2 also had what we normally do.
Right.
So it threw me off.
As if I heard correctly, you haven't even listened to that episode yet.
Well, I was supposed to go to work today and then I didn't. So
Story of my life, ladies and gentlemen.
not my fault.
And ladies. But today,
At night.
today we're flipping the genders here. Darcy will be leading discussion.
We're flipping the genders?
Yeah. Talking about the things that women do to repel men.
I was thinking, okay.
No. I'm staying right here. And I will always be a man. Okay?
I was like, oh, we're getting interesting for this one.
No. All right, Darcy, what is the actual title of the article? It's different from the one I pulled.
So it's...
Why did I bother with a soundboard if she was just going to do her own sound effects the whole night?
This is your fault for getting me a cigar and alcohol.
What are you implying?
You
You better not be implying anything other than... I just made you a little goofier. Okay. That's it, audience. Don't read into that.
Loosened up my jokes a little bit.
There you go. Jokes are worse.
Nope. All right. 10 things women do that basically repel men. So I think we did 13 things men do that repel women. Mm-hmm. This is 10 things that women do that repel men.
Already right out the gate, I'm a little upset because for guys, there's a whole bunch of things we can do to scare off women. Right? But for women, there's only a handful of things that women can do to scare a guy. You know what I mean?
How mad would you have been if it was the 3 things women do to repel men?
Even worse than how I feel now.
All right. So we got number 1.
Wait, is there like an introduction to the article? Or is it just go straight into it?
It just says the main source of information for the articles that's written is by men themselves.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So let's set up something. Is this in the context of for a date? For a first date? For asking out? What do you think? In general, when you're in a relationship and then you scare them off halfway through.
I mean, probably kind of similar to the last one where it's like stuff out the gate, but also kind of long term. Mm-hmm. Some things are easy to overlook when you love somebody, and then other things, you know, it's like if you saw that right out the gate, you'd be like, nah, you know.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
So.
All right, audience, take this with a grain of salt for whatever situation you're in. Okay.
Do you want me to read the whole like explanation of what they're meaning by?
Yeah,
okay.
Unless you can find it. If it's quippy, for sure. If you want to summarize it, it's up to you.
All right. So the first one is bragging / being arrogant.
Okay. Go ahead and read that description, please.
Confidence is a major turn on. Arrogance is not. People are inherently repelled by braggers. I'm sure your efforts are coming from a desire to impress him, but too much showing off will actually repel him. Also, asserting your almightiness will make him feel like you're the type of person who will always need to get her way and will never admit to being wrong, and no guy wants to deal with that.
Ooh. No, see, I feel like that's a whole bunch of things into one topic. Never being wrong, that sounds more like control freak stuff or lack of responsibility like we talked about with the guys a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, but I think what they were saying is like because you're bragging or being arrogant makes the guy think that this is what's
Gotcha.
gonna be the problem it leads into.
That's fair. So, do you have any examples that come to your mind from a woman's perspective? Then we'll get to what the guy thinks, which is, less valid, but still valid.
I don't know if this would necessarily... I feel like this would more so apply in attention seeking, so I might want to hold off on that to see if this comes up later.
Okay.
Well, but as far as bragging or being arrogant, I mean, I see people all the time. Hang on. I don't see anything about attention seeking, so I'll clump that into this. Because to me, that would be tying into being arrogant.
I could see that.
There was this one girl that would go so far out of her way to get attention, and every time I brought a guy with me in church, like she was all over him. And there was even one time where this guy was my boyfriend. Like I held hands walking into church with him, and she's like trying to flirt with him and jump all over it. Literally jumped on him, like jumped on his back to like get a piggyback ride when he was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And she was just so extra, and she's always been that way with everything, just very loud and obnoxious, and just always trying to get everybody's attention. And it was like, girl, like, you don't gotta do all that. Like, just chill. And first of all, these are my guys I'm bringing in.
Yeah.
Like, why are you trying to get their attention? Go find someone else, like.
Okay, attention seeking. Yeah, that could probably play into arrogance. For me, I see it all the time when women go into a social setting and they act like everyone's after them, when actually it's the opposite. Everyone wants to stay away from that person.
Okay.
So there was a girl I used to work with a long time ago. When she would have a few drinks, she'd walk around like, oh my gosh, that guy was all over me. And that guy just said hi to her. Or he sat next to her. She's like, oh my, the whole night he wouldn't get away from me. Oh my gosh. And then like later on in life, coworkers, same thing. Yeah, he like, he's attracted to me, but like, but they're just bragging.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, that's like the arrogance, the bragging.
Right.
That the people that assume everyone's after them, they have to throw that in there. Like they can't have a guy just talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, he was totally into me.
Right.
That annoys the heck out of me. I can't stand that.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like, that gets old real fast. I don't know how you feel about that. Have you seen that or no?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that with a couple different people. I've had a couple. It ties in weirdly with women friendships, but like, I don't think I'm being arrogant here. There was a time that someone was like legitimately checking me out.
Yep.
And I could tell because we were making eye contact back and forth. And like I could tell by body gesture, like we were like communicating with each other, And my friend that was next to me was like, oh, this dude's so sick. He keeps looking at me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's nice of you not to burst your bubble.
No, I'm not going to be a douche about it. But I just kind of sat there and was like, all right. And like, she was the type of person to do that with everyone, where it's like, we walked into a store and somebody was like, hey, you finding everything okay? And she's like, ugh, God, disgusting men. He's trying to hit on, he works here. Why is he asking if I'm finding everything okay? Like, what does he want me to say to him? And I was like,
isn't that annoying?
Yeah.
It's annoying, right?
Right.
When they act like just everyone's after them.
Right.
It's like, man, you're like a 5. You know what I mean? You're average at best. I'm just gonna say it. And
So rude.
I didn't say it to their face. But like, but really, you know what I mean? And like, oh my gosh, he's into me. Like, I don't think so. He smiled at you when he handed you your food.
So as far as being a repellent, would you say that's an instant no-go?
No.
See how it goes after a couple weeks? Like, where would you rate that on this
I'm going to
issue?
put that lower.
Okay.
I'm going to put that on like number 10 because I have been interested in people who are a little arrogant. So it hasn't scared me off yet.
Okay.
It does get old really, really fast for me.
Okay.
I cannot put up with that long. Because at some point, I'm going to have to humble you and be like, look, He was not into you. And, like,
Right.
it's going to keep bugging me every time you do that. And these girls like that do it a lot.
Yeah.
Now, that's just the example I can think of. There's probably plenty more where, like, you know, you don't just have like one niche tendency. Like, that's something you're going to have bleed into everything. But that's the one that's most noticeable to me.
I've also had kind of the opposite problem with women, where like nobody's even really paying attention to me, but they're sitting there moping and they're like, he's looking at you. I'm like, who? Like, no, he isn't. Like,
Yeah.
he just waved because he works here, you
Yeah.
know, like, and they're like, oh, you're so much like, I wish I was you. I was like, shut up. Like,
Yeah.
you, and these are always pretty girls talking like this
Oh, yeah.
too. So I'm
Yeah.
like, where is this coming from?
Right.
Like, why are you being so self-conscious? One girl did have a valid excuse. She came out of a really abusive relationship where she was constantly put down by him.
Right.
So I understand her part, because when I came out of abuse, I was very much like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as people that like haven't really been through that, I don't understand where that's coming from for them.
Right.
But
Yeah. So for guys, definitely, I've been that guy when I'm standing next to someone who's like taller, thinner, more tattoos than me, believe it or not. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I can understand how people get in their feelings and be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm getting no attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know why that annoys people.
Yeah.
But that's just something you got to get over.
I almost feel like being self-conscious is a worse quality than being arrogant.
Is that
As
on the
far as
list
like,
later?
I don't know. As far as being like overly self-conscious, like everybody's self-conscious about something here and there. You know, I get self-conscious about if I'm gaining too much weight sometimes, especially with all the eating disorders I've had.
Yeah.
Like everyone's gonna have some, but when you're self-conscious, like overall about everything, and nobody can move, live, or breathe without your like insecurities coming out, like
Right.
that would be way more annoying for me to put
I
up
agree.
with than somebody being like, oh, he's staring at me. You know, I'd be like, no, he's not, but okay.
Right. Yeah. And you're right. I don't know. Over anything is going to drive anyone crazy. Overconfident, over
Yeah.
sad for yourself, over angry, all that stuff. That's
That's
gonna,
fair.
you know, you can over extreme in everything.
So, number 2, being negative.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick, can I go back and say, did I answer your question? Like, where would I rank this on unattractability or turn off or whatever?
You said it wouldn't be an instant
No.
repeller.
It's
because,
annoying.
Yeah.
And I'd get fed up with it.
Okay.
For sure. And I would have to call someone out at some point. I'm sorry. But okay. But no. No. And same thing. I think, now, correct me if I'm wrong. I would also flip it too. Like, on the girls' end, they say they don't like dating cocky people, but they still do it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
sometimes that's something that attracts them. They'll think they're attracted to the confidence, but it's like, dude, that guy's a total jerk. And
Yeah.
still.
That's
So,
true.
I would also say the women have it lower on their thing too. It's noticeable and it's worth taking note of, but I've seen it still work out. So anyway, anything else to add to that?
No.
Okay. Lead away.
So, being negative. Having a negative outlook isn't just a man repeller, it's a people repeller. We all have our own crap to deal with on a daily basis, and the last thing anyone needs is to get weighed down by someone else's issues and negativity. Okay.
Do you want to give practical examples or should I?
I mean, I feel like anything on this list is going to be something you do sometimes. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
for
Like,
sure.
nobody's just always positive all the time. And if they were, like, honestly, I'd get fed up with that.
Yeah,
if somebody was just
absolutely.
all sunshines and rainbows all the time, I'd be like, oh my God, like.
Yeah, so you hate it when they're too
Yeah,
positive.
right. I guess this would be a good preference.
Breakfast.
Breakfast. A good,
I'm sorry, guys. We're so giggly today.
a good preface would be obviously anything that's too much or too little is not good.
No.
And anything on this list is not going to be a middle ground.
No.
So, giving that preface, I'm not going to say that again with these other ones,
Mm-hmm.
but this is, how we're looking at it overall.
And both genders can do these, by the way.
Yeah.
Not just girls. This
Right.
isn't just the crap on girls
This is just the
session.
list I got.
Yeah, but far be it for me to just crap on one gender. If, you know what I mean. So anyway, continue being negative.
Yeah. So I definitely get that. Like, if somebody's just negative about everything all the time, it is such a damper of things. I understand having hard sections of your life because
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
definitely had those myself. I don't know. Do you have anything specific that comes to mind on this?
I do.
Okay.
And then maybe if it jogs some memory, please share personal experiences. I think personal experiences, and if you can, I know we want to be fair and be like, well, I know guys that do this, but
Right.
like, do your best to stick to the thing. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about what women do to repel men. Let's just do our best to stick to it. The other preface, I guess, would be that yes, both sides can, I think I said that already. Both
Yeah.
sides can do this, but we're sticking with the topic at hand. So, I know a girl that anytime you say something's good going on in your life, she has to come in with, well, you know, I talk about, man, my parents took me out to dinner this week to celebrate my birthday. Oh, my parents have been dead 10 years.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not that that doesn't suck. Okay, I get it. But why did you bring that up?
Right.
Just to make me feel bad about how great of a time I had.
Right.
Okay, so that's one example. You know, man, I just can't. Me and my girlfriend were talking about having kids. I can't have kids. Same person. It's like, I can't have kids. You know, just okay. Thank you, Betsy. We get it.
Right.
But like
having that conversation of itself to vent about it's one thing, and then
Yes.
just bringing it up anytime.
you're happy.
Yeah.
Or anyone else is happy. So it just like really, I don't know. It's like, why? Where's that coming from, Darci?
Right.
Where's that what place in you is that coming from? You know what I mean? To where you want to ruin everyone else's good time. Anytime someone else is having something good happen to them, why do you feel the need to take that away from them? What's going on in your head to where? What is it? Confidence thing? Jealousy? What is it?
Maybe jealousy.
Okay. Envy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Greed. Just list off all 7 deadly sins.
Gluttony.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gluttony.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end of the discussion right there. These all come from that.
I don't know, because like I've never really done that. I've had someone that always try to one up me on negativity, to where it's like, man, I had a hard day, like, you know, I got stiffed on this check at work, and somebody's like, well, at least you have a job. And
Yeah.
it's like, can I still not have a hard day with what I already have? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, and it can be
That's
frustrating.
annoying too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Would you call that invalidating how you feel?
Maybe. Yeah.
In a way. So I also cannot stand overly positive people where when you
Yeah.
say something's going wrong, like, oh, you should just be thankful that you have a job.
Yeah.
You know, and then like anytime you sneeze, like you sound ungrateful. Oh my
Right.
gosh. You know.
You get paralyzed from the waist down, and they're like, you should be grateful it wasn't from the neck down.
Yeah.
Okay, you're sounding real ungrateful right now.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Okay, I know a guy
the-
who knows a guy who knows a guy, you know, who's paralyzed from the nose down. You know what I mean?
the nose down?
No, I made that up.
I was like, how does that work?
Darcy, it says,
Let me-
it says
okay.
gullible on the ceiling. Looks. Oh my god, it does.
I painted that on there a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. You just look up and you're like, well, by golly.
But yeah, so I hate really positive people, but then I don't meet too many negative Nancys like that I described earlier, where like no matter what good's going on, they got something bad that they just want to share with you and bring down the mood.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that also could fall into oversharing. Yeah, we've had conversations with people who make the conversations all about themselves and all that they've gone through. You know what I mean? And it's just like you cannot get a word in because their life just sucks. And they just want to talk for 3-4 hours just on everything that's going wrong in their life. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's like with people that are really negative, it feels like even when good happens, they still find the bad in it.
Yeah.
Where they could get a brand new car, but the state inspection's up, so they have to do that. And they're like, oh my God, like, you know, and you're like, dude, you just got a whole car. And they're like, well, state inspection's up, and I got to pay for that. And it's like,
$100.
yeah. And just like situations like that, you know, it's like they always find something to complain about. And I just couldn't be, you know, like,
Yeah.
I'm very purposeful with Paul. If he does some, like, I don't like pizza. I'm not a big pizza person. I also hate the pasta that they make at pizza stores because they overcook the pasta and it's mushy.
You are hurting me right now, but continue. Now you're being the negative one.
So I hate it because it's just mushy pasta. Like,
Yeah.
I do not want my pasta cooked that much.
Right.
And so one time, Paul, to be nice, knew I didn't like pizza, so he went out of his way to get me pasta from the pizza place. And when he got me the pasta and brought it back, I was like, oh, thank you. Like, I hate pizza. So you got me this. Yummy. And like, I ate it, because like he went out of his way. He was being thoughtful. And I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, you piece of crap.
Yeah.
If somebody being negative would see they went out of their way, tried, put in all that effort. And they'd be like, well, you forgot one thing. I hate this too. You suck.
Yeah, no kidding. I think it's a form of overbearing, and maybe that's on the list too. Overbearing.
I think it might be.
I like this list better than the guys one actually, and not because this one just feels a lot more concise and focused. Because like they didn't need 13 reasons on the last one, but they put bad hygiene and bad breath in two separate categories.
Yeah.
Where this one just like what, if you're negative, that covers all the negative stuff.
Right.
So I actually really much appreciate that about this article.
Well, we're also only on number 2, so.
That is true, and we are doing good on time. This could be another 2-parter, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, where would this rank, unless you had something else you want to add to this part? Where would this rank now? I like that question you asked earlier.
Yeah.
So
as
ask
far as
me
negativity,
again.
yeah. So for you personally, as a man, while we're reading about this being men repellers for women, would this be an instant no, a gradual no, something you could see, like it would end because of it? Like, where would you rank this?
It is a very bigger red flag for me. Is that a good way to say it? Very bigger? Probably not. It is a much bigger.
It's a mucher bigger.
It's a mucher bigger. Okay. It's a much bigger red flag than the last one for sure. The last one wasn't good, but I think that's something that can be worked on.
And you could also like just kind of get over.
Maybe. But negative,
yeah,
that's a big one because at least the people I've encountered, that bleeds into everything, every conversation, every topic. Anytime it turns positive, they're like, nope, we're not going forward. We're going backwards again. Yeah. So I would argue that it's very high up there. In fact, I think that, unless the other ones just knock my socks off, that's going to probably be number 1 or number 2. That's going to be pretty high up there.
Okay.
Like we're talking some big ones. Repel women, yeah, I'd say so. There are women I've been attracted to, and as a guy, I'm thinking like, yeah, I could see myself like having, hanging out with her, but I don't think I could see anything like a long-term type relationship with those people. People that are negative all the time. That to me kills the possibility of a long-term relationship. So, yeah, I think that's a very big one for me. Thank you for asking. What about you?
If you're that negative, that would be an instant turn off for sure for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
That would be a big one. I'd say top 3.
Yeah, same.
Like, unless something crazy comes up, like...
Yeah. Like
if they bring up physical assault, like, obviously,
it's the same thing. It's a lot more... it's a lot worse of an example, but it stems from the same issue, negativity, all the time. And I think that comes from a form of like everything's about you.
Right.
So self-centeredness in a way. So, all right, cool. Next one.
So, number 3, you don't...
Are you done squeaking that duck?
I was putting the squeaker back because I dropped the squeaker.
All right. Sorry, audience. Continue.
So, you don't get him. Is one of the...
Explain that one to me, please. I'm squinting because I don't know what that means.
I don't either. That's why I'm going to read it.
All right, let's do it.
Most men just want to be seen and understood. When a man feels this from a woman, he'll want to be around her more. Conversely... Did I say that right?
Conversely, yep.
Okay. Conversely, when he senses she needs him or is just trying to get something out of him in order to fulfill her own desire, he will instinctively pull away.
I don't think guys are as good at noticing that. Because for the most part, guys just want physical stuff, right? Or are we keeping this within the bounds of relationship?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay. So let me say I do have a very personal example of this, and this actually fed into a person me and Darci knew, who she got close to Darci to get closer to me. I had rejected her. I wasn't into her. And I still wanted to just be friends with her. We never were physical. We never held hands. I never even really said, I like you. I'd give her physical compliments, like she's pretty. I like talking to her. When it came down to like, okay, she wants to like this to be a relationship, I said no because I wasn't feeling it. And from then, she wanted to hang. She tried to hang with Darci more. She tried to invite me to stuff. She came over to the house a few times to watch a movie. I just wanted to still be friends with her, but she was hoping I would change my mind. And when I wouldn't change my mind, the fun times we had, the nice stuff I did for her as a friend, she just said, "Screw all that," and just pulled away from both of us. I'd say, unless you have something else you would wanted to add to that or your side of it. Well, give me your perspective on that, just a bit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. That one was kind of a tricky one because like there was a little bit of back and forth and on both sides, but your back and forth was only because of whenever she was wanting it, she was pretty like verbal about it.
Yeah.
So it caused you to like think more into it because at first you were like no,
Right.
like every single time, and then she would like continue to talk to you and you'd be like, okay, I'll think about it, and then you'd think. And then at one point you're like, sure. And then she was like, no. And so after that, you're like, okay, yeah, no.
And if that sounds confusing to you, audience, it's because it was way more confusing to me. That didn't make sense to you? Didn't make sense to me either at the time.
Yeah, that was a perfect dialogue of that. So if it, just listen to it as many times as you need to for that to make sense.
Yeah. Maybe at some point we could re-elaborate on that, but we don't need to go too far into it now.
Right.
But yeah, she was using both of us. She pretended to be our friend so she could get closer to me. And I was very sad afterwards. I felt very used. Because I liked her as a friend, and I wanted to keep talking to her, and I thought we could be friends.
Yeah.
But she wasn't interested. But she pretended to be, and that's where the fakeness came in, and that's where I guess you don't get him, kind of ties in. Where she just wanted something out of both of us. I don't know how you felt, Darci, but I felt very disappointed.
Yeah, same. I mean, I don't know. I've had so many long-term people in my life that I've cut out that it doesn't really bother me when people come and go. So it's one of those things where, like, in the moment, I might be like, dang, this sucks. But then the next day, I don't really care.
I get you.
And that's just from so long of, 8-year friendships ending in a night. And it's like, oh, whatever.
That was in a span of, like, a month or two.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was a
Right.
6-year long. Because there's some extreme examples where it's, like, 10-year friendship so the guy could get in the girl's pants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it could have been worse. But I just remember feeling very taken advantage of. I really feel like she didn't care about either of us or even our whole friend circle. It wasn't about that. It was just about using us just to get close to me and to spend more time with me.
Yeah.
And not for the purpose of getting to know me as a friend. That was very disappointing to me. So, cool. I don't know. I don't know if that fits into that.
Right.
But it did for me.
Yeah. It was a little broad. The one part that you can break down is like in order to fulfill her own desire. So just kind of ignoring your needs.
Yes.
Being like, oh, well, I don't care that you wake up at 5 a.m. I wake up at noon, so you need to stay up till 2 a.m. with me to hang out with me or else you don't care. That's just something off the top of my head I can think of.
Manipulation.
Fulfilling her own desire, but not really caring about yours.
Right. Your needs are secondhand to what she needs.
Yeah.
And really, most of the time, it's not a need, it's a want.
Yeah.
But you know what, guys? If you're a gentleman, you'll still accommodate and you'll want to give her what she wants. But still, there's a line. And as you grow more confident, you'll know what that line is and how to set better boundaries for yourself. That's all the stuff that comes with practice and time. So remember, kings, work on yourself. And then when the time comes with the right woman, you'll know what she looks like. Number 3.
Looks like.
Bam.
Anyways, so where would you say that kind of falls on the scale for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm better at this than you are.
Out of all 3, what was the first one again? I'm sorry.
Arrogance.
Okay. I'd put it slightly above arrogance, but they're both at a meh for me.
Okay.
That one in particular, you can tell when someone... I think the red flags are there sooner rather than later. Honestly.
Like that thing that we talked about way early on. If you want to see if, they're toxic, tell them no.
Yep. I think that fits perfectly into it. For context, shout out to whatever episode that was. I said, if you want to figure out who's a narcissist or who is abusive, tell them no. And if you tell them no, they'll go ham on you. And if they don't go ham on you, they might get in their feelings, but if they're nice to you about it, then they're okay. So, real simple test. If they're emotionally manipulative, tell them no, and they can't handle themselves. They can't control it. They will show their true colors. All right. Next one.
Number 4. Being critical. What?
That was number 3? Oh, I'm sorry.
Being critical or putting him down. No one likes to be criticized, but men are particularly sensitive in this area. A male ego is not something to be messed with. A man's greatest need is to feel significant and to feel like a winner in the world. If you make him feel like a loser, he won't want to be anywhere near you.
I know you've been in this relationship, Darci, or this type of relationship, but I have been belittled by women before. I've been talked down to by women. I've been cut down. I've been insulted. I have been in that position. What do you think is the best way to identify those signs early?
I would say nagging.
That's a good one.
If you're noticing like nagging, that could be like a big thing to be like, point out that, I don't know, just critical.
I think if they're critical of a bunch of other people, maybe they haven't gotten to you yet.
Yeah.
But maybe if they're critical of, take them to a restaurant and see how they talk to the waiter. See how they talk about the waiter or waitress as their backs are turned. And if they just start complaining like, oh my gosh, he waited too long to refill my water. Oh my gosh, he didn't ask if I wanted more cheese with that. Oh my, and it's like, well, when I was a server, I did it like this and this and this and that, and just see how they talk to other people, see how they talk about other people. And if they haven't gotten to you yet in that manner, if they haven't started talking to you like that, but they treat everyone else like trash, it's only a matter of time until they circle their way back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the warning signs are there, ladies and gentlemen, on both sides. If you would just slow down and not tell them you love them, not start kissing them, not start getting physical. If you'll just slow down, the warning signs are there. You just have to see them. It's okay to ask a friend to keep an eye on them too and be like, hey, while we're hanging out, see if you notice anything fishy. Make sure it's someone you can trust. Okay. I've asked Darci before to watch somebody that I'm interested in and see how they are, because they're going to be on their best behavior when they're with you. If you want to get someone who's emotionally manipulative, put them with a bunch of your friends and see how they talk about your friends after, right? Oh my gosh, I can't. How can you go to them instead of me? Oh my gosh, how can you do that? How come you didn't come to me? I didn't like your friends. They don't like me. Okay, if they start talking like that, that's a red flag, right? I mean, unless you disagree, Darci. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said just then. It's hard because like this feels like it would be a pretty big issue for me.
Yes.
Because the majority of the other ones, it feels like you can communicate through it.
Yep.
It feels like it can be worked on, but if you're just being critical and harsh and putting people down, that doesn't feel like something you can just talk about and work on, like in decent timing,
Yeah. I think there's a way to do it, but I'm with you. It is. I mean, it's
not as easy as telling someone like, "Hey, not everybody's looking at you,"
because they're not right, and they're not just going to be critical in those regards. They're going to be worse in a lot of other areas. This is a big red flag for deeper issues.
They're going to be critical of you being critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're the critical one.
Yeah,
and it's like I would also call it hard to please. Yeah. Because like no matter what you do, it's just not good enough for them. Even when you go and apologize. Okay. I've apologized to people before and it is still not good enough for them.
Yeah.
They are still like, well, you don't mean it. Or you missed something. That's not a real apology. You didn't mean it. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to remember. What was it? I think it was a table I was serving back when I was a waitress. And it was like Thanksgiving. It was the end of the night. So, I'm whatever, not really there. And then I was talking with one of the hostesses and she was like, oh, there's a drink on the bar. Is that yours? And I was like, oh gosh, it's Dr. Pepper. I'll go grab it. I ran it back around and they were wanting to speak to the manager and flagged him down and talked to him about it. And I came over and I was you can see what time you send the tickets in.
Yeah.
It was like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a decently long time to wait for your drink, but he also had water while he was waiting, so it's not that bad.
Sure.
Especially since I remembered on my own. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. It's been a long night. Just holiday fog, I guess.
Yeah.
It was just being real nice with him. I think I even cracked a couple jokes. And he was like, well, sorry's not good enough. And I looked at him and I was like,
Now keep in mind, right? You hadn't like spilled it on him.
Right,
you
right,
hadn't,
right.
like, kicked him.
Yeah, it was like a 5 minute wait.
Yeah. But sorry's not good enough.
Right. And so I was like, I I don't know what to tell you then. I guess you're just gonna have to deal with that on your own. I literally like was making this same like facial expression towards him where I was just like,
Yeah.
then that's on you. Like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I just sit there and I'm like, imagine like his kid sitting across from him, what he deals with, or his wife, if he's even married, like who knows why he's sitting with just his son on Thanksgiving night at a restaurant being a douche to servers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, maybe his wife died on Thanksgiving or something. It was a hard day for him, whatever. I've been nice to people where after my boyfriend died, so I don't really care to think of that excuse that hard.
Yeah, I agree. I know everyone's different, but
Right.
I have a problem with people that take out their anger on other people.
Yeah. Especially over small stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and look, I get it. Okay, let me tell you a time when I used to be. I was a jerk for a guy, and it was not his fault. I checked online for a TV at this Walmart that I was gonna buy, and I would go up there. It said online it was available, and I get to the guy. I had a bad day already with work and just like traffic getting to Walmart, and I just really wanted this TV. And I get up to the guy and I said, I was like, hey, bro, I'm here for this TV. It's online. I saw it was available online, or at least online it says it was available at the store. Can I go ahead and get it? And he's like, yeah. And he goes back. He's like, sorry, dude, we don't have it. And I got so mad, right? And I looked at him and I said, you asshole. And I was like, and then he gave me a weird look like I had just shot his dog. And then I just stormed off and walked off. And my buddy had to apologize for me and then chase after me. And I was in the wrong. I fully admit. I cussed this guy out. I called him words that did not represent his true character. And he was nicer to me than I deserved to be talked back to. But I do not endorse taking out your anger, what you got going on, and taking that out on other people.
Well, it's like you saw the way that lady screamed at me about my mayo earlier at Sonic.
You asked for a weird food request, Darci.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, you did.
No,
You said,
I
can I
didn't.
get the biggest Diet Coke you have and just squirt a whole thing of mayo in it, please?
I just got fries and ketchup and a packet of mayo.
That mayo was
Mayo chup.
Shout outs to episode 33. I don't know what episode that was. I made that up.
I was like, how do you remember all these episodes off the top of your head?
I made that up. I think it was 31, actually.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Can you read that description again? I feel like there's more we could add on to that.
No one likes being criticized, but men are particularly sensitive in this area. A male ego is not something to be messed with. A man's greatest need is to feel significant and to feel like a winner in the world. If you make him feel like a loser, he won't want to be anywhere near you.
I agree with that. It's one of
Yeah.
our greatest needs. Okay, if not our greatest need. What was I going to say? Criticism. I don't know. It's annoying when your girl won't back you up. And don't get me wrong, are guys on the wrong? Absolutely. But when a girl is criticizing every move you make, it gets so annoying when they're supposed to have your back. There's a difference between criticizing just to criticize and criticizing to actually help you grow.
Yeah.
Okay, my girlfriend has to push me all the time on things that I feel like I'm in the right on. Sometimes she does it to me on the spot when I'm trying to vent, but it happens, but the best times are after I get my venting out and she tells me, hey, this is what you did wrong in it. That's different when they're pushing you to grow, right? But there are women, and I've been with these people that want to criticize just to make you feel bad, to belittle you, to cut you down. They're not doing it with the intent to help you grow. They're doing it so they can feel better. And that ties right back into what I said earlier about cutting other people down to make yourself feel better. What is that face you're making?
It was the next reason. I think the next reason's complete BS, but I'm listening.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure.
Yeah.
I think we can do 5 this episode, 5 next episode. So, what do you think?
Yeah.
Cool. Next one, Darcy, number 5, and last one on this episode of Third Wheel at Night.
We might have to do the 6th one, but
Why? It's short?
no. I just find it BS.
I disagree. Whatever it is.
5. You're fixated on labels or relationship status.
You don't have you disagree, so you don't even have a practical example, do you?
I'm gonna read this.
You know, that's easy to come from a girl who has,
Would you stop it? I'm gonna
that
read
has-
the description.
Hold on. You would get offended.
Wait, did we rate the last one on like heaviness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, wait. No, we didn't. Go ahead.
Top 2 for me.
Yeah. I was going to say this has to be I've been in relationships where this has been a big thing. My first girlfriend for sure was overly critical. She never listened. Okay. I say never. I'm quoting Star Wars. She was overly critical, okay? And I don't know. Like I said, if you watch and see how they treat other people, and it was my first girlfriend. I hadn't dated till I was 24. I didn't know what red flags looked like, but she was a big eye opener. And watch how they treat other people. And if you think they won't do it to you, you're fooling yourself. So, okay.
All right. So description on this one on fixated on labels or relationship status. I can just tell a man wrote this one. I'm sorry. Men like to be in the moment and they don't want to feel like they're in a relationship pressure cooker where they have to meet deadlines and hit certain marks at the right time or the girl will get upset. Your focus should be on connecting with the other person and determining if this relationship is the right fit, not on getting the title for the sake of having it.
Why do you think that's BS?
Because men play that card so much just to have you as unofficial while messing around with other women. It like makes them mad because they're like, I'm not trying to be in a committed relationship.
I was ready to refute you. That was a pretty good point.
Like, what's the point of, if you're talking with each other, what's the point of not having a title?
That's what you mean, that type of title. I was thinking like, oh, his job. His job is way better than your job. Okay.
No, relationship status.
Got you.
Girlfriend.
Yep.
Girlfriend, not girlfriend, engaged, what have you. Now, I get if the girl's wanting to get engaged after a month, not wanting to do that. But, like, to me, the type of man I imagine is the guy that's had a girlfriend for the past 10 years, and it took him 2 years to ask her to be his girlfriend because he was messing with everybody else, and now she's pissed off because she doesn't have a ring, and he's talking about how dumb it is that girls have these deadlines. That's the man I'm imagining. But let's even put it on a smaller scale and say it's not that big of a deal. What's the problem with the title? If you're talking, you're talking.
I was thinking more so, okay, so when you break it down like that, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, it's our 10-week anniversary. It's our 11-week anniversary. You know what I mean?
No.
All right.
It immediately starts off and
titles.
says men like to be in the moment and they don't want to feel like they're in a relationship pressure cooker.
Yes and no. That same girl we talked about earlier, the one that was like using both of us.
Yeah.
She was already hitting me with, you're the best guy I've ever been with. You're the guy I've prayed well over 30 years for. You're already the best guy ever. I'm so glad we're
Quit trying to
talking.
run the clock down.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think
You're
of-
staring at it and you just kept saying best guy ever.
I was literally not looking at the clock.
Oh. It looked like you're just trying to talk for 5 minutes.
I'm watching your voice level go way above the bar. Okay? Because your bar's down here and your voice is going way up past it. Your volume.
You know what?
Thank you. You saw that just now.
But like, even when I talk like this, it's still going over the top
I'm
of it.
well aware. So, anyway. Okay. Because I'm trying to get specific here. I'm trying to figure out what she said specifically. Because she was hitting me real quick with, you're the answer to every prayer I've ever prayed. You know, like she was, and I still wasn't sure how I felt about her. And I was leaning toward no, but I was still trying to give it just some time to breathe. I hadn't dated anybody in a while. There was nobody else I was interested in. I wanted to give it some time to breathe, and she was already all in. She was already like, I want this to be a relationship now. I want this to be like, I don't know. She was talking to me like we're already married and engaged and stuff, and it was only like 2 or 3 weeks in. So now on your end, you're right. Yes, it's absolutely annoying when they're dating for 10 years and they're not official for 8 out of those 10 years. You haven't even talked about getting married yet. Like I get why that's annoying. I do. But by that same token, I feel like women kind of do that to themselves. They could have asked 2 years in, where's this going? Okay, you have 6 months to make a decision.
A lot of girls do bring that up, though. Like, whenever I was with, I was going to think of a clever nickname to give him that wasn't...
Speedy Gonzalez. Motorcycle Man.
That's so bad.
Guy. I'm the live guy.
That's so bad.
Darci, can you quit running off the clock by laughing so long? Okay.
That one, you just guy.
Is that too on the nose? Of which he has none anymore. Because he went splat.
little splooshy splat. little depressy wussy, as I said earlier.
I don't think he's feeling anything, Darci. He's unalived. Sorry,
oh God! If I don't laugh about it, you'll cry about
she's
it.
Holding back tears.
Yeah, I'm so distraught about this amazing person that was what?
Can you quit running down the clock,
No,
Darci?
you ran it down. Get out of here.
It wasn't me.
Anyways,
where are you going with that?
Whenever me and this guy broke up, I caught myself. I'm better than you, okay?
Just use the censor bar.
Yeah. So we talked about getting back together, and we never officially got back together, and he refused to give us a title. And I straight up was like, I am in love with you. Like, I'm literally living with you. What do you mean we're not dating? Like, what do you mean we're not officially boyfriend and girlfriend? Well, because he had a, other unofficial girlfriend going on,
Yeah.
And so that's why I think about like men like to be in the moment. Like they like to be in the moment. They want to sleep with whoever they want to sleep with. They want to be with whoever they want to be with. They don't want to be tied to this girl. They just want to do what they want. And I told him all the time that I was leaving if he didn't make a decision, but he like controlled so many parts of my life that he was able to like make it to where I was his only option,
Yeah. I'm empathetic to that situation. And yes, there's mind games in there that make you think, or that isolate you, or make you think a certain way, or maybe think the way he wants you to think. But at the end of the day, don't get mad at me. At the end of the day, I feel like you chose to stay there, right?
I did, in a way.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed at my parents' house, though.
Well, like, how not allowed were you? Could you not just go over there?
My dad's the one that kicked me out.
That's different.
That was why I lived with him.
I thought we were talking about your last boyfriend kept you from going, physically from going. Okay, you had a little bit more not going for you. I get that. You didn't really have a safe place to go. Yeah,
I didn't have enough money to get my own place. Yeah. I didn't have any friends in the area because I was in my program for so long.
Sure.
He was the only person I had since I pretty much got out of my program, and my dad had recently kicked me out because he pitted me and my dad against each other.
That's
like,
different.
I was surprised my dad even let me come back after he died. Like, I thought he was going to be like, well, sexes suck. Wonder where you're going to stay now.
Okay, that's different. Let's go less extreme.
Okay.
Let's not talk about an abusive relationship.
Okay.
In the context of someone who's, like, dating a guy for X amount of years, and he's just not budging on making anything official, going any further than playing house. Okay, let's take the abuse aspect of it. He just won't commit because he likes how things are, where he has the option to walk away at any time, even if that's not what he wants to do. You know what I mean? I think at that point you need to give him an ultimatum. Either you're going to commit or you're going to not commit. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like women in those scenarios put themselves in that position.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's what I'm saying.
If it's not abusive, they're not stuck, things like that. I can see where you're getting to the point. But women are just so emotional, It's like, oh, but I love him, And so, like, from it being the guys, because right now we're talking about 10 things that repel.
Yes. And I thought I'd give you a practical example of why it pushed me away.
Yeah, that's one extreme, like, unlikely scenario that I don't feel like happens most of the time.
Oh, God, you haven't been me. I've pulled all the crazy extreme scenarios, it feels like.
That's true.
Yeah. So maybe that's why it's less likely, because it all just happens to me.
But I feel like most of the time, like, women that are demanding a title are demanding it because it deserves a title, not because they're just, like, being needy. And I feel like, because this is talking about 10 things women do to repel men.
Sure.
You know, so we're not talking about the women that are fed up with their guy. This is the guy saying he's fed up that she's pressuring him to be in a relationship.
Yes.
And it's like...
I've been on the side, though, where it is like the girl is being too demanding.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Now, I get what you're saying, where the guy is, taking too long, dragging his feet. But just in my honest opinion, I feel like the women should be putting up either tighter boundaries, setting ultimatums. Like, they need to be the ones to walk away. The same way you encourage me to, like, take the lead on not being physical with people is the same thing I think women should be encouraged more to, like, set harsher boundaries, set harsher deadlines if the guy doesn't seem motivated to commit. I would say the women need to start stepping up in that area and telling the guy it's either here's your deadline, and if you don't do it, I'm moving on. I think women need to step up in that regard. They need to set it up for themselves.
Well, I feel like that girl kind of did do that with you, though. That was talking to you.
We're talking the span of like a month. She was already telling me that I'm everything she ever prayed for.
Well, yeah, but I'm
we
saying,
together?
like, eventually she got to a point where she was like, are we or aren't we? And you were like, we aren't. And she was like, okay, bye.
She didn't say okay bye though. She said, okay, well, let's be friends. And
That's
then tried
true.
to go a long, painful way.
That's true.
I like where you're going, but you're reaching. All right. I appreciate that, but you're wrong.
That's fine. You know me and devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
to fight for the wrong side.
On this show, Darci, we rebuke the devil and all his advocates. So I see where you're coming from. I think I'm just being honest. When a guy is not, if you're gonna let a guy string you along for 10 years without any real commitment, I feel like that's on the woman at a certain point. At a certain point, okay, not right out the gate, but at a certain point. When it's the other way and the girl's pressuring the guy, yeah, I think it's valid. It scares the guy off kind of early, especially when they whip it out. So, you remember that girl I dated in her 40s?
Yeah.
How 5 weeks in, she said she loved me. She was offering to get work done to where she could have kids after she had the work done to not have kids. She was offering to get that undone.
Oh my gosh.
5 weeks after of us not even like being official. Can you not see why that would scare a guy off?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's not the title, though.
I don't know. I think it's...
She's talking about changing her entire life around for you, not asking you to make things official.
I think it's less so just about the title. Maybe I know that's what that
Right.
part's titled right there, relationship status. But I really think it's
Okay.
steering toward the conversation of commitment
Okay. And moving too quickly.
too quickly.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
I know it. I think for a quippy or article they put relationship status, but I'm leaning more towards the deeper side of like commitment.
Okay.
Being asking to commit way too fast.
Mm.
In that last instance, I was trying to figure out if I even liked her, and she was already like,
Right.
"Okay, how come we're not together yet?" You know, and hit me with all these heavy like, "Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about yada yada yada." And it's like
Yeah. Whenever I was with, and like, I feel like I can be very like boy-like in my mind processing and emotions
Yeah.
a lot of the times. So I don't know if this is going to be too much different from y'all's side of things or not. But back whenever I was talking to different people and stuff, if guys were wanting to make things official and we had been talking for a couple weeks and I didn't want to, it's because I genuinely wasn't interested in a relationship. And I didn't want the title because I didn't want to be like tied to them. I was like, no, like, you know,
Yeah.
you're cool. We can keep hanging out, going out after work to get drinks. But like, I'm not making things official with you. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And so like, to me, I'm just blunt and honest. But to me, like, if a guy's like, no, not yet, then I'm like, oh, okay, so you're not interested. Got it.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, I agree. I don't know. Relationship status, you agree, disagree. If we're just talking about Facebook statuses, sure.
Right.
Okay. titles, but I'm thinking more so like long-term commitment.
Okay.
When they're too pushy on that really freaking fast, and you can tell who is like, I don't know. And again, on the other side, I know people where they were trying to like, come on, let's go get married, let's go get married, let's go get married. 3 months in, and she's like, look, dude, I like you, and you're the person I want to get married to, just not that fast. And because he insisted, she broke up with them. Even though he was seemingly the perfect guy, he just for some reason was like, would not let it go. That like, no, we have to do it now in 2 or 3 months. The whole thing, get married. And I just think that's fair. I think it's fair to have that be a turnoff.
So where would you rank that on the list then?
Well, I am on like I want to get married, so it's a little bit lower on the list. But someone who really really wants to slow down, I could see that being a higher priority. I'm gonna put that on the lower end. So let's rank the 5 we have, and then we can call it an episode.
I'd say this one would personally be my last one that I care about.
Sure. I could see how it'd be a bigger turnoff for me because I've actually been in that position. So if we're gonna rank them all from 1 to 5, number 1 was what again?
Here, I'll rank mine since I can see them, and I'll remind you what's on here.
Sure.
Number 5, fixate on labels. Number 4, being arrogant. Number 3, you don't get him. Number 2, being negative. And number 1, being critical or putting down.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with number 1 probably being critical.
Yeah.
Okay, putting down,
Same.
that's a big one for me. That's something my biological dad did growing up. Number 2, I'm gonna go with you don't get him, right? Because we talked about putting, yeah, that was a big one. 3, I'm gonna go negative.
Okay.
What were the last 2? I know social status, that'd probably be on the lowest end. What was the one before that?
Relationship status and arrogance.
Arrogance is high. Nope, arrogance is lowest.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with status / commitment. To me, it was more so about commitment. Lastly, what would we say? Arrogance. Arrogance can be kind of cute. You know what I mean? I like a girl that takes confidence in herself. Arrogant. I know arrogant. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
But I could slip past that. That can be attractive.
Okay.
So, but there are 5 more. Tune in next week to figure out the exciting conclusion to Dragon Ball Z. Oh, sorry, wrong show. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you, and join us for part 2 next time of 10 things women do that basically repel men.
Ooh. All right. See y'all next time. Bye, guys.
See you guys.